Hey, welcome to Here's Out. I'm Paul.
And I am Patrick.
Welcome to 2024. Yeah.
The year of the future is now today. Yeah, 2024. And we're going to tell you why it's going to be awesome and possibly sucky in some places, but mostly awesome, but also slightly sucky in some ways.
Yeah, 2024. It's the year that Data said that the Irish unification happened. Yeah. Yeah, look
Oh,
it up.
okay.
Um
Oh,
I,
I missed that Star Trek reference moment there, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself.
it's funny as hell. Yeah, he's just like, the Irish unification war in 2024 and everybody's going insane about it. But yeah, so we're going to go through a couple of movies that we're excited for, a couple of predictions for the year. You know how it works. We do this every year, which is so if you haven't, yeah, go back. There's 2023 our prediction kind of meet or like thing where we did pretty much was like one of our last videos. And then yeah, this is our 2024 prediction where we're going to go through some movies we're excited about and some predictions. I already said this, so I'm going to go on and on and on.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah. So essentially, Paul, we're going to have people what we're excited about and what we think will happen this year. We do it every year, and we're right almost every time. That's
Yeah,
completely not true. We used to actually do a thing where we go back to last year's and rate our things, but
yeah,
then we realized that there's a really good way to get people to watch an older video. If you want to see if any of last year's predictions were right, you can go and watch that video. Yay!
exactly. So let's jump right into it. Which is so some movies that I'm excited about for 2024 is Dune Part Two. If you're in any way a fan of this, the channel, you've definitely heard me bang on about Dune. So
Yeah, it
like,
was always going to be one of your picks. Always going to be one of your picks. And Paul, we talked about it before the first part came out. We both went to see it. It was a big deal for you. It was a big deal for me. I was hoping it was going to be great, but I remember saying to you, I really hope for your sake, because I love you, my brother. I hope this isn't terrible. And I came out going, hey, there's no way he's going to hate that. And I was so glad that you didn't.
no, which is the thing is that first part, because I knew it was going to come out in two parts. That first part was going to be the easy one, but it was also
Mhm.
kind of like I was more kind of like, oh, this is going to be interesting seeing them set up the worlds and stuff like that. There's more world building kind of thing. The second one, this part two, is going to be the absolute batshit crazy one, because this is where like there's weird psychic powers and there's weird rituals and you also have Christopher Walken as the Emperor and stuff. It's going to be real crazy kind of stuff. So this is the difficult one. They've set up the world really nicely. Dune Part Two is going to be the really difficult one where they actually have to bring in all the kind of Dune, Frank Herbert crazy stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they get that kind of going and stuff. So I think
They've
everybody's
already done the hard
settled.
part, Paul. They transported people to another world. They actually made it another place. They didn't just make it look like, hey, this was shot in Tunisia. It really worked. So once you've done that, I think you can have fun with your bit of crazy sci-fi.
Yeah, I think they've set the foundations really well, and I think the Dune Part Twos. I think everybody's going to enjoy the craziness, and it's gonna start a lot of kind of good conversations between Frank Herbert fans and people who are just general sci-fi fans who
Mm.
haven't delved into the Dune series, and then people who are not sci-fi fans who enjoyed the first movie are gonna have a lot of stuff to say about this one.
And the
Um,
first prediction of this episode, Paul, I predict more big sandworm memes than we can shake a stick at because of this, and also a mention that's going to get talked about later on.
Yeah, exactly. My next pick is based off kind of the showrunners of a really good horror movie that came out in October, kind of a fun one, which is the Totally Killer group. This is Lisa Frankenstein. You probably see some trailers and stuff like that. It's coming out in early, which is I think it's in February. It's coming out.
Yeah, it's pretty soon actually.
So I'm really excited about this. I think they did a really good job with Totally Killer, kind of a fun time travel kind of stuff. If you haven't seen it, it's on Prime. Go check it out. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
it is. It's the 80s and it's done well. I was there for them. They got it right.
Yeah, it's also real fun to see it from a perspective of a person from now, and
Mm.
just all of the funny jokes because yeah, we kind of grew up in that era, and it was just like there was things that you're just like, yeah, that was normal.
Oh yeah, I remember
Like
getting lifts with strangers in cars while they were smoking with, me as a child that wasn't theirs, dropping me off somewhere, and everything was normal, Paul. Everything was
exactly.
normal. That's not normal anymore.
So yeah, this is why I'm excited for this Lisa Frankenstein, which is it's essentially about a Frankenstein family person who I think raises the dead, and then it's just I would love to see if everybody remembers Warm Bodies. I would love that Warm Bodies and this to kind of weirdly have a cross universe thing. But
Well, Warm Bodies, the people were telling me that Nicholas Hoult was amazing. He was amazing. He was amazing, amazing. I was like, he's the kid from the film with the thing and the book and this. And then I saw the things and oh yeah, but Warm Bodies is the one that convinced me. Actually, that guy's got something going for him because he managed to pull off. Like it's a difficult role to have presence in, but he had presence. So
yeah,
fair play.
very funny as well. If
Yeah.
you did you get to see Renfield?
No, not yet.
Oh, he's very good in that, and I really enjoyed it. Which is I would definitely recommend that. Nicolas Cage is also fantastic.
Anybody and welcome everybody in the chat. Anybody in the chat who's seen Renfield or any of these, let us know as we go. Thumbs up, thumbs down, what you thought of them.
So yeah, I'm really excited for Lisa Frankenstein. I think it's going to be really good. Catherine, which is Newton, was really good in Totally Killer, so I'm really excited to see her reprise a more crazier
Yeah.
role, I guess. Kind of thing. Yeah. So my next pick is a bit of a weird one because we're not entirely sure if it's going to come out this year. It's still kind of on the verge thing. But it's the new Alien film, Alien Romulus.
Romulus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Romulus. I don't know because it has
Yeah.
two V's or something.
They're giving it the whole witch thing again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be Romulus. That's if my original Roman Latin pronunciation of things is correct. Could be wrong.
So yeah, I'm this is the weird one. I'm excited for this one because I'm hoping that it's not going to be any of the evolutionary stuff.
Mm,
Even though the picture definitely may suggest something like that. It is set between the first and second movie.
yeah.
So that's the interesting part, and it's not the Neil Blomkamp one, which was meant to be kind of
Which we all
about
wanted. I
oh
wanted our District 9 Neil Blomkamp alien movie, and we got to see art and everything, and we're like, oh God, give it to me, injected into my head. And then it never happened. And instead we got Prometheus, another cack.
yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, yeah, that's where I'm excited for this one because they have so much to go with it in the
Mm,
sense of if they ignore kind of like this is how the aliens evolved and Michael
yeah.
Fassbender is a crazy robot that everybody wants to love and all this kind of crap. I think if they just focus on a really good story. It's set between the 57 years that Ripley is frozen. The original Neil Blomkamp idea was something to do with which was Hicks and Newt and stuff like
Mm,
that. It was actually set between the second and third movies.
yeah.
But
So
so
before the prison planet.
yeah, so they would go back into cryo freeze or something like that. But yeah, so I'm excited for this just because I'm hoping that I'm I'm always excited for an alien film. I'm always going to be excited for an alien film, and then I am greatly disappointed. So I'm hoping that I won't be. But
Oh, I'm
uh,
glad one of us still has has optimism for alien movies because I myself do not. I've been hurt so many times, and hurt badly with considering it's a franchise that, much like Indiana Jones, meant so much to me as a child. And looking back, I wish they'd stopped at three movies each. But having said that, because of your optimism, I'm gonna try and put the sunny side up and say that yeah, this of all of them for me sounds like it is the best chance of being another good. They're due a winner, Paul. You know, you only have so many swings and misses. Eventually, they throw the ball at your bat. I'm hoping this is that one. Because yeah, I'd love this to get back on track.
I would just yeah, I just hope that this goes back to a monster alien kind of franchise rather than you know, we're discovering the meaning of life and the evolution of people and all that kind of stuff. Um, which is not to say that I don't ever want to see that in a film. I just don't want to see it in an alien film,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
gotcha.
Which is so that's my picks. Which is let me know in the comments. Which is if any of those excite you. Which is as we move on to our next picks, Patrick.
Well, Paul, would you take a Ghostbusters up first for me, if
Oh
you wouldn't mind?
yes, of course.
I'm continuing the theme of movie series or movie universes. Everybody knows I've been unashamed about the fact that I really thought Ghostbusters Afterlife, the last entry in the franchise, was great. I loved a lot of things about it. Paul Rudd's always charming, etc., etc. But I thought, this is great. This is how you do Ghostbusters now. This is how you bring it all back. This is what we need if we're going to continue all this. Years ago, I would have said, stop it with the sequels, all that stuff. Now that people have shown that you can do franchise over a long term, you can do cinematic universes over a long time, whatever it might be, if you put a bit of care and attention into it. I think Jason Reitman did a great job, both
Yeah,
directing and writing. And, his dad, Ivan, was part of it and also part of the originals. This one, it's actually being directed by, and I took his name down because I don't know him that well, Gil Keenan, who was one of the writers on Afterlife. And it looks like him and Ivan Reitman are swapping we both write, we both direct, write one, direct one. Um, I'm nervous they're going back to New York because one of the great things, and I remember saying it to you about Afterlife, was, yay, this is what Star Wars needs to learn. Stop going back to Tatooine. Just go, you can go out into the countryside, tell your story in a different location for Ghostbusters. It doesn't always have to be Manhattan.
yeah,
They're going back, but with the cast they have, and the number one reason I'm so excited for this movie, Paul, I crapped my pants with praise over one McKenna Grace, and I don't want to pronounce her name wrong there. That's why I wanted to double check. She played Harold Ramis's, Egon Spengler's daughter in Afterlife. She hasn't done a whole lot since. She did like a Disney movie and a bunch of TV shows
yeah.
that I haven't seen. And her performance as a kid, and now her performances, I think she's probably late teens, maybe even heading towards the, 1920 age. She could be a real star if she is as good as she looks like she can be. That first movie, what a performance. So if nothing else, I'm really excited to sit in the theater and get to see her have another crack at a big screen advertisement for her talents. So if they write a good movie, I'll have fun. If they have fun making a good movie, I'll have fun. But at the worst case, even if it's a mediocre movie and she gets to have another business card, another calling card to say, hey, there's another, talented actress on the scene, that'll be enough for me.
I get your points on that kind of it's nice to see kind of new actors getting a kind of a chance at kind of bigger screen stuff. And then yeah, some people definitely rise to the top of even kind of mediocre movies and stuff like that. So it would definitely be great to kind of see her rise to the top. Um
Yeah.
but I think though, like kind of with the attention and care that they did with Afterlife, I think this is going to be all right.
Yeah. I trust the
Like
Reitmans. It's a family property for them at this stage.
yeah, so like I'm probably a little bit more middle ground. I think this is going to be all right. I
Mm.
think they're going to play on a lot of. I think with Afterlife, I think you're right. I definitely think they kind of took it out of the um out of the city and into the countryside, and I think that was really good to kind of set that they had like little elements that was really kind of nostalgic and stuff. I think Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is going to play even more on the nostalgia,
Yeah.
and that's
Which is
always
dangerous. It's a
yeah.
dangerous game. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, it worries me a little bit that if you have to kind of lean too much on the nostalgia part, that the rest of it might not be as stable as everything else. Because
Yeah.
it's pretty bad if you're just like, yeah, don't mind our plot. Here's Dan Aykroyd. You're just like, cool.
Bill Murray's back again.
Yeah,
Yay.
kind of thing. So like, yeah, I'm a little bit more on the fence, I guess, with this one. I hope it really does well, but I'm still kind of being reserved about what I've seen so far.
Like I say, it's got the potential to be great, but even if it's mediocre, it's got other elements to it that I think it's this is all about stuff we're excited for this
Yeah.
year, and this makes me genuinely excited at the promise. So, universe, how about you don't screw me over on this one?
It
Okay?
it's my alien, I guess, is the kind of like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're just
exactly.
excited and you're kind of hopeful. Um,
Exactly. So,
just
what's up next?
just on the chat, because it
Oh,
actually
yeah.
goes to do this. Which is Brew said that my cousin worked for the electric company and was working on the sets for the new Ghostbusters in London. Met the cast. That's pretty cool.
Oh, very cool.
I just thought I'd catch that while we were on the
Yeah.
Ghostbusters side.
And it's no matter who in the cast he met, it's such an awesome cast. Like, he could have met Ernie Hudson, he could have met Dan or Bill, any of the originals, but he could have met McKenna Grace, who I just, again, went on ad nauseum about how amazing she could be. So nice. And I see Brian also says didn't click with Afterlife at all. It's a shame. But each their own. I think if you view it without too much expectation, it has a pretty good Ghostbustery vibe to it. But that's a shame. I thought you would have dug it. Anyway, on that note, though, Paul, fingers crossed for Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire.
Yeah.
And what are you going to pull up next for me?
Well, what would you like to go for? We're gonna.
I'll go for the my. This could be a very fun car crash. Joker, Folie à Deux. So
Uh-huh.
Joker Part Two.
Yeah.
Um. Oh crikey! I just saw the comment. He met Bill and Dan.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god. Oh gosh. Like he's got two out of the three living Ghostbusters. Or four if you actually want to include not Harold Ramis. Rick Moranis,
Oh yeah.
who was a Ghostbuster for a very short time. Yeah, so Joker, Folie à Deux. I cannot. I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce it correctly. I think it means something like a shared insanity or a shared crazy or something. The first Joker movie had no good reason to work uh, by being made by Todd Phillips, the guy that did The Hangover and all the rest. Like we shouldn't have got the first Joker movie that we got, but we did. It won Oscars and it was amazing. So, with that mindset, Paul, when I describe Joker Part 2 as being a musical of some sort, where Phoenix is back as the Joker and Lady Gaga is going to be a version of or in the realm of Harley Quinn. I don't really need to know anymore to be excited about what this could be. Because this could either be brilliant or it could be so far on the other end of the spectrum. Like it could be terrible. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go in and sit down. I'm not going to be watching trailers for this. I'm going to avoid as much as I can unless we decide we're going to talk about it on the show, Paul. I am going to see Joker as blind as I can because I think it'll be a roller coaster ride of what am I about to get.
Yeah. Like I get your points. I'm excited for this one as well. I guess I'm shy about this one because I think it's going to be so different from what we got in the first one. That I guess I'm morbidly curious and excited about this one.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way that I could describe it a little bit more. Um, but I think it's going to be like Joaquin Phoenix. This is great as the Joe as this Joker. So like, and I definitely think that they did really right with their version of it in the first one. So like, I think the elements are going to be there and stuff like that. It's just that are they pushing their luck with doing a sequel?
Yes, they
Like,
very much are.
yeah.
And that's what excites me so much because this is like, doing a trick you didn't expect to do on a skateboard, pulling it off, and then instantly going, I think I'm going to try the exact same trick. I don't know how I just did it. If you land it, it doesn't matter who else saw it, you'll feel amazing. But this, like I say, it's one end of the spectrum or the other. I don't think this will be mediocre. I think this is going to be either fabulous or complete crap.
Mm.
And you may notice a theme with what excites me, thinking about things coming ahead because there are films that I think will be good, and I'm excited for them. But it's more because I think, oh yeah, that's going to be good. That makes me look forward to it, not make me as excited. And Paul, some of the comments are, yeah, Joker didn't feel like it needed a sequel. No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't need a sequel, but it made so much money that there were zeros being added to checks, just saying do it, do it, do it, do it, or we'll keep writing zeros.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they
I,
were
I should, yeah,
just on the thing. I think they were surprised about what they got.
yeah,
That I think even the studio was just like, I guess we have to make another one, like kind of thing, and it was just like this shotgun kind of mood thing of just going, just greenlight the next one.
yeah, yeah.
So
Um, I've noticed some of the other comments. Mark says Dune 2 should be good. Joker's intriguing. Like the first one, quite divisive though. Good. Yeah, fair point. I think this will be just as divisive, and I don't know in what way a musical will be woven into this or woven on top of it or whatever. But again, I am excited by risks when it comes to this sort of stuff. Brian, I knew you were going to mention Nosferatu because of your love for Eggers with Northman and Witch and everything else. I think Nosferatu it almost made my list on that. I'm excited, particularly because Willem Dafoe is in it
Yeah,
at this point, and he did play. I can't remember the name of the film, but he kind of played the guy who actually played Nosferatu once. So it's all very weird. Any other Joker was great. Um, isn't the sequel a musical? Yes, it is. Godzilla minus one too, even though it's just out now. I've already seen Godzilla minus one. I saw it. Did you get to see it yet?
yeah, I got to saw it as well. I got to see it as
Thank
well.
you.
Yeah,
It was one of my picks for best film of last year. And the more I think about it, the more I think it fits that criteria actually on a few levels.
it's really good. I went
It is.
though. I have a story about it,
Oh, give
which
it.
I'll switch to the big screen while we do this.
Ooh.
Um, I went to it and I went with so I went with my partner, and we definitely got two groups of people that did not know that it was a foreign film,
Oh no.
and like it was real bad, because they started like just I think the idea is that people have when they go and see, oh, it's a full subtitled film,
Mm.
that they can then make as much noise as they want, and it drove me crazy. And then there was a gentleman who may have started doing some kind of stereotypical kind of like very like, yeah, yeah, exactly. And I was just
Shh.
like, okay, like I had to turn around and go, you have to stop. Just because it's subtitled doesn't mean that you get to speak,
What
you
an
know?
asshole.
And I think that shut down. Now he was with a family as well, with like I think with a child and stuff, and the mother was mortified.
Of course, and
So
she's been
like
regretting whatever decision brought her to that man.
yeah, so like
That's oh,
I feel like I did it. I did like I did a service for the cinema with the stream, because I think that also shut up the people in the back who were also messing with cans. So like because I was just like they were just like, oh,
good.
okay, there's someone who's going to give out to us, because I just was just like I started doing the whole like and then my partner was just like, just do it, and I was just
Just yeah.
like, just
I'm gonna explode.
um
Well, folks, Godzilla minus one has history on our channel because long before it came out, uh, Paul, you were very kind. Actually, we did a whole episode just because I loved the trailer so much. We did a whole episode talking about Godzilla. We'll retroactively link to it, so it'll appear up here if you're watching after the fact. It's one of those things I was really excited. You know when you shouldn't get your hopes up because that can really hurt a movie.
yeah,
This one landed it. Quite literally, it landed the plane as I started watching the movie, and it is the kind of Godzilla movie that I was waiting for because it's not just a big monster movie, but it does have a big monster movie in it. It's character driven and it's wonderful. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm glad. I'm just never going to miss a chance to talk about Godzilla minus one. Paul, my last pick because we don't have too much time. Horizon, an American saga. Would you mind pulling that up?
yep,
Because
what's up?
this, again, talking about ambitious. For anybody who hasn't heard about this, Horizon American Saga is going to be released this year in two parts that are about 2 months apart. So one in June, one in August. It's Kevin Costner starring in a Kevin Costner written with somebody else movie about the West. What we do know about Kevin Costner in the West recently is Yellowstone
Yeah,
in a more modern sense, but then also his other kind of horseback postman, post-apocalyptic West, his Dances with Wolves. The man he has not, seen a bit of brushland and a ridge that he hasn't wanted to be filmed in front of. And I like that because, I grew up on Westerns and I've never been shy about the fact that I enjoy the genre. If this is done well and done right, then it'll be great. But I have no idea whether or not it will be. But one thing is for sure, this is one of the biggest risks in cinema this year to
yeah,
release a part one that if everybody hates it, you've already made your part two and it's
yeah.
coming out 2 months later. So if you take a kicking in the box office once, you're just sitting there counting the days till you get your second kicking in the box office. And more than that, Paul, he says this is part of 4 films. So they're currently filming more. So this first part is happening in 2 parts, and then there will be 2 more films. Who does 3-hour movies? Everybody now. But who started off the idea of doing 3-hour movies,
I was
or
gonna
was one of them?
say, like,
So we could be looking at a Lord of the Rings box set length, extended length, except not needing the extended runtime. This could be 12 or more hours of an American saga in the West. And I'm here for that kind of thing. Like, do it. If he gets it right and it all works, and my God, the cast list looks good, this could be amazing. Or again, could be something that we have to talk about with that sad face on of going, well, maybe the next part won't be as bad, but I guess it's financial ruin, and we're never seeing part 3 and 4.
it's just like, well, I guess that didn't work.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Kevin and Costner is definitely got the guy. Definitely got the I guess the stars of the long ass films. Postman is a film that I always seem to just gravitate back to, and I'm just like, I watch it, and then I'm just like, I completely, like, at the end I'm like, I completely forgot that movie was like 3 hours long. And then
Yep.
later on, I'm like drawn back to Waterworld, and I'm just like, I also can't believe that movie is also like 3 hours long. Like,
And folks, remember, this is at a time when 3-hour movies were exceptional, because 90 minutes was runtime back in the
yeah,
Dances with Wolves days. I'm just looking at the chat real quick, Paul, because
yeah.
Godzilla's getting some. Ferrari is great, by the way. Is it? Oh, you got to see it. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Love Adam Driver. Heard mixed reports, but still looking forward to it. Mark also says, think Eggers will make decent films from here on in, Brian. Yep. He is very talented. So Costner is big cowboy energy. Kevin, yes, big cowboy energy. It's a great way to put it. And he's got to do this stuff while he's still young enough to do them all too. Bet big or go home. That's it. So you're all at least backing me up on the crazy picks, because there were a lot more rational picks of stuff that I think will be good. These are the ones that I'm throwing all the chips in the air and I'm laughing maniacally.
I'm just going back on some of them. Which is Zone of Interest. I definitely think that's going to be a Oscar pick for this year. It's definitely it can't not be. I've been looking forward to it as well, so it's nice to see that I'm not the only one. I actually have a list of all the films that I think are going to be the Oscars, and then the kind of like, so my prediction later on is going to be kind of interesting for that one.
Okay.
I'm interested in Ferrari because I've heard that it's a good story and good acting and stuff like that, but I've also heard that like the production is a little bit wonky.
Oh,
That's what I've heard, that I've heard there's a little wonkiness in the kind of production value kind of thing, which is maybe interesting, kind of going, I guess this is the kind of film that I'll figure out if I like plot and character thing more than I like production value, I guess.
well, Paul, we don't have time for the honorable mentions, I think, yet. We might have to do that the other side of the break. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Ferrari is kind of going to come up a little bit tangentially in one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad to see. Thank you all so much for the wonderful commentary. This is the best way to start a year. Everybody who's commenting right now. I was about to swear, but I'm not. YouTube. See, I didn't. I effing love you all. You know what the F word is. It's Ferrari today. But like, Ben, you've just you made me laugh while reading a comment. Why stop at 4? Go the whole hog and make it a 12-parter, one for each month in the West. There you go. Why not? Kevin, just keep making them as long as you're able to walk.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're gonna run to our quick ads. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. We'll see you in a bit.
Stick around. You obviously like 2 people talking about movies, or you wouldn't even be seeing this ad. Well, don't tell anyone. But Hear Us Out isn't the only choice. You should check out our friends over at It Takes Two podcast. It's a podcast where 2 people take 2 films with the same plot or premise, watch and discuss them. Films like Gremlins and Critters, or The Truman Show on EdTV. Lisa and Nick don't stop there though. They get creative and compare some unexpected movies. Some that you don't see the connection until you realise that they can be described in the same way. They launch new episodes every second Tuesday, or Monday if you're in New Zealand. Find them on your favourite podcast service, or check the link in our description down below. That's It Takes Two podcast. Tell them Hear Us Out sent you.
Hey, welcome back. Which is that was It Takes Two. They're friends of the show, which should so check them out. Where you get all your podcasting things.
And while
Um,
we're at it, Paul, just want to, we can't have the first show of the year without mentioning Paul and his good friends at Homebrew Quest. That is your YouTube search term. Homebrew Quest will find the best, and I can say that. Paul, you can't. It would sound conceited, but I can say the best Irish alcohol-related D&D game being played in the world at any given time.
oh, you're very kind. You're very
I was very specific so that that best thing can't get me in any trouble in a court of law. You know?
very specific. But yeah, so we got a lot of honorary mentions this year. So I think I'm gonna leave the one that you sent me last to the last.
Yes, let's leave that to
So,
last.
I'm going to jump into I'm going to jump into Beetlejuice 2, which is one of the reasons why which is I think this year's
Sandworm memes all
yeah,
year
it's going to
between
be
Dune and Beetlejuice 2. It's going to be the Barbenheimer of memes.
yeah, it's going to be just everybody putting sandworms from Beetlejuice into Dune and Dune sandworms into Beetlejuice, which is going to be less funny.
Yeah.
But you know, who cares? Yeah, I'm interested in this one because Kevin Costner's or not Kevin Costner.
That'd be
Michael
brilliant.
Keaton's coming back. Kevin Costner as Beetlejuice would be amazing. Um, Michael Keaton's coming back as the title character, which goes Winona Ryder is coming back as which goes her reprising her role, which goes and Jenna
Ortega.
yeah is coming back as
Wednesday.
possibly yeah is coming back as possibly the daughter of Winona Ryder or some kind of relation or something like that. So that'll be very interesting, kind of like generational thing going on with Beetlejuice. But I'm really glad that they decided to stay with Michael Keaton and not go with like we'll get someone younger who's kind of Michael Keaton-ish, and you'll just be like, okay, well now you've just why would you burn your bridges before you even
Yeah.
started kind of thing. So I'm happy that they were like, and Michael Keaton's is such a good, not even just a good Beetlejuice. I just love him.
But that's the thing. Michael Keaton makes everything better. That's, there's the t-shirt right there. Add more Keaton. It's all good. He's the more cowbell of movies. Throw him into everything that DC ever does. Again, he'll make anything better too. But also, Paul, they're not doing Beetlejuice in Hawaii, which,
Hmm.
if you remember, after the first Beetlejuice, which was however many, 300 years ago, when they first talked about a sequel, it was Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii. And I remember at the time thinking, yeah, no, that's not as funny as you think.
Yeah, it's kind
And
of one of
every
those.
time it came up every 5 years, I was like, no, it's still not as funny as you think.
It's one of those kind of jokes that you have in a writer's room where it's like the one writer who hasn't had anything on the air for a while, and he's just like, I got it, I got it.
Yeah.
How about Beetlejuice in Hawaii? And it's like, is the reason that you chose Beetlejuice in
Yeah.
Hawaii is because there's a pineapple on the table and you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt? Is that the only reason? Because it'd be more funny to see like Beetlejuice and Ghostbusters together, like
Yes.
you know.
It would be more yeah, no, I'm not even gonna go there because we'll lose loads of time me trying to be clever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to Beetlejuice 2. Again, I'm over the whole sequel thing. Do it well. Let's have it be good, and I'm fine with it. But Michael Keaton is going to be key. If he brings the Beetlejuice, if he brings the juice, we've got the Beatles.
Ooh.
That almost worked. Move on.
My next honorable mention is Deadpool 3, which is another kind of exciting one to kind of get it through. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing if this goes well. They've got a lot of people in the mix and stuff, so I'm interested to see how it works. But yeah, it's also got Hugh Jackman back, so like, yeah,
There's a ton of, I don't want to say anything because so much of it has been spoiled by people out there doing set photos and stuff. But they're ambitious, and I think, you know even at its worst, a bad Deadpool movie is probably got as good a chance of being as good as a lot of other movies anyway. So I'm excited to finally see this.
let's just say that the Marvel bar is so low right now that
Oh,
if they even give us like if they give us Deadpool 2, which I know a lot of people were kind of like that's the middle film kind of thing,
Mm.
I think everybody would be happy with it. I think as long as we get some kind of good Marvel film, I think we're all just
I believe in Ryan, and I believe he will someday gently caress me. Ryan, I'm here for you. Reach out.
perfect. I'm gonna go for one that we're both excited about, which is in the honorable mentions, which is the Twister 2. Uh,
Twisters. Back to
tw-
pluralizing for sequels.
uh,
Yay.
we still have to have a whole thing on like titles of movies and stuff like that.
We
But
did one video about that. We're owed a whole other because we've got so much more now. But yeah, Twisters. Paul, why are you excited? Because I'm excited for that kind of. I want to watch the. Some people do just want to watch the world burn, but I'm kind of thinking Twister, the original movie, shouldn't have worked, but it bloody well did, and I think Bill Paxton was a huge part of that. God rest him. He's rest in peace, man. I think since they're not using any of the original cast, I'm hoping that they're going to focus on. Let's see if we can do this again. We now can, with our effects, go way crazy on how people experience twisters and tornadoes. So that's a huge part of the film. And then we just tack a nice story around it. Get a few good writers. This thing could be an absolute killer.
yeah, I think so. I think everybody was real surprised about the first Twister. That I definitely think they can recast. Very much like someone saying, Mark was saying that the distance between kind of Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice One and Beetlejuice Two could be really good for them. I think this would also be very good for them. I think this would
Yeah.
draw a lot of eyes back to the original, kind of thing. So I think that's a kind of good. And you're right, Bill Paxton was a key member, but like you had Seymour Hoffman in it and stuff like there's
Oh
so
yeah.
many good actors in that movie that you were just like, how?
There were
Um,
Oscar nominees all over the place. You had Helen Hunt, you had all sorts of people. Yeah, it was stacked. Good Lord, Cameron from because I'm sorry I've forgotten his name, from Ferris Bueller was in the damn thing. Yeah, it's let's face it, we've missed a good disaster movie, and Twisters has the potential to be one that actually could work and doesn't. It's not going to have The Rock looking at the Twister and giving it the eyebrow over you blowing at me. Because let's face it, that's all they're doing now. Either Jason Statham or Dwayne The Rock Johnson looks at a natural disaster and says, "Don't be at it now." So I'm done with that. I'm glad that this is going in a different direction of more unknown people, I think.
yeah, I'll have to talk to you later on about Beekeeper.
Yeah. Another
Why?
thing that's coming out this year, everyone, film where a secret covert operative type person is a beekeeper, and their secret covert operative group was the Beekeepers, because that's not too on the nose. And
I
I'm sure
I
at some stage somebody's getting smashed by honey.
I had to. There was a line that was just like, "I have to protect the hive," and I'm just like, "Okay, you've got me weirdly at that line because like weirdly
It's
when
going
so
to be
it's just because it means that there has to be a lot of bee puns in there, like there has to be. It's just like I really hope that someone like there's a picture of the queen or something like that, and there's just like she's not my queen, and then like it's some kind of weird beekeeping kind of like
I
just
love it.
you
There's
know
there's going to be honey. There's going to be hives. There'll be like, we'll smoke them out. I got to put on my suit. It's going to be awesome. But hey, has anybody ever had like curry chips from a chip van at a concert or something, and they get it just right, and you're like, you know what, this is bad food for me, and I know exactly what's in my hand, but it's working right now. Beekeeper is one of those movies. If you make your Statham movie, you make him be Jason Statham for the whole thing. Don't look up your own nose too far at it. The Transporter was great.
yeah.
I loved it. Everybody looks back and they go, "Oh, Transporter was great." I'm like, yeah. He's been making Transporter-esque movies for a long time since. Some of them are actually quite good when you get it right. Beekeeper could be it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a stupid action film that I'm just excited to see. So,
This is
um,
this is a stink. Well, I worry the chat is now going to devolve into Beekeeper
I'm
related.
just hoping. I just hoping that one thing that he it's how like in military things they do the hand signals that he just shakes his ass at her like at the other person like and she's just like what the hell are you doing? He's like we communicate through dance. Just something
Oh,
crazy like that. Anyway,
I want it. I want it so bad now. I want to put it on my most excited and anticipated things again. So,
if
Paul, what,
yeah.
what else have we got?
Another one that I'm excited for as well with you is the Old Guard 2, which I know is questionable if it's going to come out,
Yeah,
but it's very much like the Alien film this year. It's still to be decided on when it's coming out and stuff like that. So
it got a mention on an episode we did about films they should make sequels to. Um, there's two movies that made that list that are actually on our list of honorable mentions. One is Old Guard, which I think Charlize Theron, everybody's coming back whenever they do release the damn thing. Like it's been made, it's made. It's a case of releasing it now. Whenever they release it, it has a very good chance of being good. The guy that wrote the graphic novels, the comics, whatever way you want to look at them, he has a three-story arc, and the
Mhm.
movies are, you know, he's consulting heavily. They can do a part two and a part three quite well and tell a whole story here.
They could definitely do well with this. We should, and yeah, I just really know they've left it on such a place that
Yeah,
I'm incredibly interested in seeing where they can go with it even further and stuff. So it's
teed up
definitely,
a sequel perfectly. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. We'll race through some of these, which
yeah.
goes, I think we'll do. I need someone more in my life, and that is the Ryan Gosling. Uh,
Oh
I
yes,
I need more of him in my life, and I think he's going to be great in The Fall Guy.
yeah. And it is the other one that made that list of or made the movies that should get made video that we were like, what TV shows should be made as movies now and stuff. Fall Guy was on my list back then. Thank God it's come true. And my gosh, isn't it great? Between the two Ryans, oh, between the two Ryans. That's all. I just want to hang out with the two Ryans. They're wonderful. And I think Gosling is he's quite the upswing. It's dude, the reason, like, and I'm just looking over here. I have a big list of reasons, but I'm actually just going to call it. I've put Lee Majors exclamation mark. Lee Majors, the original Fall Guy, is going to be in this in some cameo form. That'll
Hmm.
mean an awful lot to me. I'm the car guy in the channel. I still, if I won the lottery tomorrow, Fall Guy truck is one of the first things I would buy, replicate, and remake. But David Leitch, who's behind this, of John Wick, fame, he was a stunt man. He was a stunt coordinator. This is his chance to make a love letter to what was his profession before he started making brilliant kick-ass action stunt movies like John Wick. So, dude, brilliant cast. David Leitch, the truck is going to make a comeback.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. So excited. Like we and behind the scenes, Patrick has been very very excited about this one. I think
Stupidly so.
just on the Ryan Gosling thing, I definitely think opening them up from being a silent or more kind of like less emotional protagonist has really made him a lot more kind of available to a lot of other movies. I think a lot of
It's true.
directors and a lot of casting directors are very much going, well, Ryan Gosling can be funny, and also
Oh yeah,
serious and everything like that. I think he's really gotten his I think Barbie and a couple of other films that he's done has really opened up his chances of
yeah.
kind of.
And I still maintain, what the hell was wrong with everybody they weren't watching Nice Guys. Him and Russell Crowe. It was a perfect calling card. And just like Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, people started realizing, oh my gosh, look what we've been overlooking. Ryan Gosling has been overlooked for too long and typecast, and like you say, in a more stoic role, or was being put in those roles. Yeah, ah, give us more of all the Ryans.
Yeah, didn't. So Nice Guys, I think the other guys, I think that came out around the same time. I think that was like a twin movie thing, and that had
Oh,
Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell in it. I think they came
oh
around the same
yes,
time, and
that's right.
I think that may have ruined the chances. Um,
Yeah, you don't want that.
so
You should do an episode about that. It Takes Two. Yeah, it's a podcast that we advertised a little while ago.
yeah, yeah, Nice Guys and the other guys. I'm gonna go to which is your car related, another car related one,
Yeah,
which is
and I
uh
promise I'll be quick.
Race for Glory.
Yes, so Audi v Lancia, or versus Lancia. I'm not going to get super car nerd on you, but I did mention there was something else that was tangential to Ferrari here. I'm looking forward to Ferrari, not for any car racing stuff. Enzo Ferrari is a fascinating, if and I wouldn't say lovable, creature. So I'm interested to see what treatment they've taken on Enzo Ferrari in the Ferrari film. This, on the other hand, is for those of you who watched Hunt and Lauda in Rush, Daniel Bruhl played Nicky Lauda. Well, he's back again, and this time he's going to be playing a more business-ended role. But for car people out there who are into racing and rallying, which I'm into both, this movie actually looks like it might take the subject seriously and use the actual drama of how people felt about each other at the time as its basis. The trailer makes this look like one of those rare breed of things that actually could be respectful to the idea of making an entertaining film, also respectful to the historical accuracy of the story and how things went, and simultaneously then taking the car stuff seriously too. Only problem is, Paul, it's supposed to be out today. I don't think I'm ever going to get to see this thing in Ireland. Um, I'm going to have to find a way to buy this somehow at some stage from somewhere. So wherever you're living in the world right now, if you can go and see Race for Glory out of Valencia for me, please do so. It actually looks like it's going to be a bit of a banger. Um, but its distribution is for crap right now.
Hopefully the word of mouth and stuff like that spreads a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, so on to our last honorable mention, which is this one's going to be probably a more kind of a long, like bit longer, I guess. So we'll go through our predictions real quick. Civil War, by A24.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one. It's getting an honorable mention because we would talk for years about this. So it's getting an honorable mention.
Yeah.
We're both excited about it for multiple reasons. But I definitely think this is going to be. This is. Oh, there's a film called, what is it? Sound of Freedom. I think this is like the other side of the coin kind of thing, and I think this is going to be better because I think they're going to just be like. I think they're going to be a little bit more kind of jokey about a lot of different stereotypes of on either side, I guess, of the political spectrum, like in America. So I definitely think that it's going to be fun.
I have no idea. I honestly, this has to get mentioned simply on that whole. Sometimes you just want to see what's going to happen. This is an election year for so many countries across the world, but very much an election year in the United States. Having just with how the world is, and I'm not going to get political about this, but how the world is, this is either going to be inflammatory to one side, to both sides, or it'll be a premonition. It'll be in some way oh gosh, maybe it'll scare everybody into we shouldn't talk about these sorts of things so flippantly because it's just not big and it's not clever. All I know is I watched the trailer, Paul, and I thought, gosh, there is so much scope for having a good hard poke at society and every side. It's not just both sides. There's like 50 sides to
Yeah,
everything. Everybody considers things red and blue. It's never binary. There's a moment where Jesse Plemons, who is perfectly cast, is there's a bit from the trailer where it's like, "Hey, you don't get it, we're Americans," and he scratches his face and goes, "Yeah, but which kind?" And once I saw that, I was like, "Okay, I'm seeing this movie."
yeah,
If for nothing else, I know that there's going to be at least one sequence where we're all sitting considering how we've let the world get to the point it seems to be getting to, and I don't just mean America, I mean the world. So it could be a really important movie. It could be a real disaster. It could be completely biased one way or the other. And always check yourself just in case you're like, oh, it was completely on the other side of things. If you use the word other, it means that you went in with the side that you wanted to be on. This is one of those movies where I think everybody needs to maybe watch the movie, not bring your feelings, and see what they tried to create.
yeah. I think if this is the best scenario this could be done is uh taken in the light that it was meant to probably be given, which is very much a warning.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's a good thing, and I don't think anyone is going to come out good in this. I
Which
don't think,
is
and I
probably
mean,
the right way to do it,
yeah, I don't think any character, or perceived side is going to be going to come out well in this film. So I'm entirely interested.
Yeah.
The pedigree of the film as well. A24 are absolutely amazing. The director did 28 Days Later, Ex Machina,
Yeah,
and
and
Annihilation.
A24. I just looked over at in my notes. Alex Garland's director, wrote Dread as well. Remember before he directed Ex Machina and stuff or Ex Machina. But A24, you had me at A24 these days.
Yeah, yeah, they're now got such a good bank of like reputation for the audience. I definitely think that anything, I'm definitely going to give everything they do as a chance You know, even if
Yeah.
they get like one or two that are that are not
Oh
great,
yeah.
I think the Marvel like goodwill that they built up, that Marvel built up, has been eroded away. I think A24 has a lot of that now for me. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, one or two films are not going to shake the foundation of me going to see an A24 film. So
Yeah. No, they're taking chances. It's good.
yeah, so which is okay. We'll run into okay. So with that, I'm going to talk about. Should we go through your stuff first, or should we go?
Well, well, Paul, we don't have a huge amount of time. This was supposed to be a half-hour episode. We're already quite a ways in, so
Yeah.
we've got to make a choice live in front of everybody. How much are we going to breeze through these? Because we can, if you would like.
I think. Ooh, I think we'll breeze through them, and I think we'll open
Cool.
up a little bit. If people want to hear more on our thoughts on these ones, we can definitely do another video on them.
Yep.
Okay. So, which is right now there's a prediction going on from many of the big kind of newspaper outlets and stuff like that are have their finger on the pulse of the movie industry and stuff, and a lot of them saying that the global box office is going to go downturn. Um, which I don't think is true. I think my prediction is that it's not. I think it's going to either stay at the level that it is, or it's going to increase. Um, and the reason for this, so this year, the box office grew by 30%. I think it was 33.6 billion, which is overall, which isn't anything to do with, which isn't anywhere close to what we were before, which is the Darkest Timeline. But I don't think it's in any way going to dip. A lot of places are saying that it's going to dip by 5%. It's going to dip by 11%. It's going to dip by a million, 2 million, all this kind of thing. I don't think it is. And people have also a variety of reasons. Some people are saying that the Hollywood strike is the reason is one of the reasons. I don't think so. I think that we won't feel that until probably next year,
Yeah.
kind of thing, because they're always making movies like a year ahead. So I don't think we're gonna feel the any kind of slowdown of the strike, and I don't even think we're gonna feel it that badly in
I think it's going to
2025.
get spread out over time. I'd agree with you on
Yeah.
that.
And then a lot of these places are also like they're hedging their bets. They're going to be like they're also been saying that it's going to dip by a million or a billion or 2 billion and stuff like that. Except for these movies that are going to save it. I think that if you look throughout 2024, the amount of movies that are coming out and their nostalgia base and everything like that, I think we're going to see which goes either flatline or it's going to keep going up. That's my prediction.
And I agree with that prediction, Paul, because and I think that's it. I think at worst, we're looking at flatline, as in no gains, no drops. And my reasoning is similar to what you've called out. I think genuinely we're in a position now, post pandemic, where movies like Godzilla Minus One, the Barbenheimer event, you know, there's a variety of cinema that's happened last year to set ourselves up for people going to the theater to see a variety of cinema ahead. The bursting of the bubble of, let's say, the MCU and the whole comic book movie super juggernaut of money making isn't actually going to drag things down. I think it's going to just leave more air and more space. Um, Hollywood abhors a vacuum, to paraphrase. I think people are going to fill that gap, and some of the movies we've just talked about are going to do bigger business in relation to their budgets, which is going to make it all feel good. People are back in cinemas. I don't think it's going to be a huge year of growth, though. I won't say that I have a positive outlook, but I agree with you. There's no good reason to have a negative outlook as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah, like that. And my other problem is that these outlets are also like going like um but don't count out wild cards, and 31 tent poles provide hope and stuff, and it's just like, if you're gonna say it's bad, then just say it's bad. Don't hedge your bets and be just like, you know
Oh, they're
oh, there's
they're
there's
mystic
movies that are
making
going to
this
do,
thing.
and it's just, yeah, I have a problem. I think it's going to be, I'm more positive, I think, than you are. I think you're kind of
Yeah,
like, we're probably going to get like maybe small growth, but not massive. I think we're going to get like a pretty good amount just from the movies that we're
I
coming
think
out.
more films are going to do better. I just don't think the overall bottom line is going to increase that much.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think it's going to increase. I think we're going to see growth, maybe not at the same rate as the comeback of last year, or It depends. Maybe there's going to be something. But yeah, no, I'm with you that there's no reason for people to look below the line and say that's where things are going.
Mm, I think so. So yeah, so I think so. Which is your? Do you want to go through?
Well, how about I just call out since we talked about Marvel and etc. tanking. I have for a long time said, Sony are the smart company. Sony are great. They didn't invent their own streaming service. I will be talking about streaming in a second, Paul. But one of the things that they have had, I'm not going to give you a full history on it, but here's the Cliff Notes, people. Sony owns Spider-Man in a way. Let's just put it simply like that. Spider-Man is a Marvel character, but back when Marvel were selling things off to keep themselves afloat, one of the things they did was give Sony a bit of Spider-Man that Sony have held on to nice and tight. And as the Marvel Cinematic Universe and comic book movies have grown, Sony and Marvel stayed tight and they made the Tom Holland Spider-Mans. But what Sony can do with what they own, they can have a kind of a spider Sony verse, which is where Venom came in, the Tom Hardy Venom movie that made a whole load of money. And we both enjoyed, Paul, back it's about 5 years ago,
Yeah,
back at the
exactly.
start of the channel. But what they haven't been able to do since then, is parlay that into any success. Morbius was a disaster. Morbius has been laughed at
It's a
repeatedly. We could laugh at it more now, but we don't have that much time, I guess.
yeah, it's a meme now.
It is a meme. Then you've got the deep dark side of what they're about to do, which is this year they're going to release Madam Web, which, in all honesty, nobody cares about. Nobody's going to be able to make anybody care about it. It's. I'm not saying it's a bad movie because I have no idea. I haven't seen it. I'm not hoping there's going to be a bad movie. I always hope that movies are going to be good. I just think it's an inescapable likelihood that it's going to tank because no matter how good it is, no matter how much good word of mouth it gets, they haven't been able to generate interest in this. So whatever its first weekend box office is, great word of mouth is going to keep them afloat for longer. But this is not your runaway train. Don't be looking for Oppenheimer numbers here. Fair play to Dakota Johnson. She's doing great interviews and pumping things up. I wish it well, but I think it's gonna fall in its ass.
I think so too. Yeah, and start with the Craven film that nobody asked for. I think these are just
Specifically, nobody asking for Craven. Craven the Hunter again, another flop in the same year.
this seems to be a weird choice for them to go this way.
And the problem is then they've got Venom 3, which after a mediocre Venom 2, it could be good. People could be in the mood for it. There might be some space given around things. But if they're hot on the heels of, hey, even this Sony Spider-Verse kind of stuff is all a bit cack, the Morbius is Madam Web, what the hell is that? Oh gosh, do you remember that Craven thing that was terrible?
Yeah,
Like they could kill it all before it starts, and their timing couldn't be worse because sentiment towards comic properties is at its most negative ever.
yeah, and I do think that this is the interesting. I do think that DC are doing an absolute blinder by not having their next movie released until 2025. Because I think,
What a time to take a break.
yeah, which we suggested Marvel do ages ago and they didn't.
And if they had exactly when we told them to or suggested, I think history would be different. And everybody who's tracking it back picks that period to go, if they just stopped here and taken a big deep breath. Well, DC are luckily, because DC's, driven the DC EU into the ground and are going to come back now with the DCU. But yeah, Sony, I love Sony. I think they're a very smart business, but I no matter how good Venom 3 is, if you've had a couple of turkeys before,
Yeah,
I predict my prediction is that Sony will probably give up on non Spider-Man properties for a
yeah,
few years.
I think so too. Or they'll start bringing back like Andrew Garfield Spider Man and Tobey Maguire Spider Man if it's a kind of
Yeah.
refresh thing. Um, my last thing, which is quite quick. I think Oppenheimer and Barbie are going to absolutely clean up in the Oscars this year. I think they were so event kind of movies that I definitely think they're going to definitely clean up in the thing. I am broken between who's going to win the best picture because there's several good movies that also haven't come out, but they've obviously been in
For
which is
consideration.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also they've done the festival thing, so they've showed themselves at festivals,
Yeah.
so that they could be in the Oscars this year. So there's plenty of those that haven't been released into the general public yet. So I'll be interested in seeing those. But yeah, Oppenheimer and Barbie are just going to absolutely clean up, I think, at the Oscars.
And
So
I think if Christopher Nolan takes home a trophy, he's going to have staked a claim for being kind of this generation's or this next generation's good tilt at having a franchise director, as in he is his own franchise, like Spielberg was.
yeah,
Because now, we talk about things as Nolan films, like the way we used to talk about things as Spielberg movies. Um, so yeah, that's an interesting one. I wonder if it will be exciting if Barbie and Oppenheimer do start taking home everything that they go up for. That will be quite the icing on a very weird happening last year.
yeah. It's also going to be interesting because I think they're pretty much all the same. I think they're all like nominated, or they're all predicted to be nominated for the same stuff. So it'd be interesting to see those. Do
Certainly will.
you want to go to the streaming service ones?
Yeah, my last one. So just very quickly, my big prediction is streaming will change this year. I think we're already starting to see it. Amazon Prime are throwing in ads. Uh, the money wasn't there. We've been talking about the streaming wars since we started all this, Paul. Uh, I'm not saying that the war's coming to an end, uh, but if I had to pick a winner right now, I'm going to say that it was the one that was there before it all started. I think Netflix will win by doing what they've done essentially, which is staying the course and minorly adjusting things. Everybody else has jumped in both feet. You know, making crazy decisions as, oh, we're not going to bother doing theatrical releases. We'll do day and date on our. Some of the reactions during the pandemic didn't help streaming either, where streaming was supposed to, pandemic was going to be the making of streaming. Everybody wants to watch everything at home from now on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see now that they've realized the money is not there, the financial model does not work for streaming the way they thought. I can see some serious changes this year. My prediction is we will see more changes in streaming and more conglomeration and mergers and tying together of things and changes of services and how they're delivered and what's actually available and what's not available more this year than we have since the start of streaming. I think that's an inevitability.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think there's already. I think it's Paramount or Universal.
Yeah,
Uh,
the both. Yeah, everybody's talking about buying each other. So you got
yeah,
HBO going to originally Universal is now so Warner Brothers going to Paramount now, is it?
yeah. I think it's yeah. So
Yeah,
Universal. Sorry. Discovery Warner Brothers Discovery, which is looking at now Paramount. I think,
mm,
but I think there's some. Uh, I think they're holding off on kind of actually
yeah,
pushing that too much, kind of thing. But yeah, I do think we're going to hear couple more kind of um mergers and stuff like that, just to kind of keep the streaming kind of I guess streaming business profitable for them by essentially increasing their library of content
yeah.
and stuff. So I'm interested in seeing kind of who eats who. Netflix isn't going to eat anyone. They're going to continue on along their lines. So
No, and they're able to be as cold as ice and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring in some more paid tiers for different things. We're going to crack down on password sharing. Things that everybody in the trade said, oh my God, Netflix are going to, shoot themselves right in the foot with these things. No, it didn't happen that way. Because Netflix have been around long enough to know it's about having a big, decent library that's constantly evolving. Some of the people that have niched down too much or only been able to hold on to certain of their own properties have had to put those things over onto Netflix anyway to get views. And we may have another episode coming out about this in a month or two. So I'm not going to talk at length now. But yeah, Paul, I'm not excited about this. This is one of those things I predict there'll just be carnage.
yeah,
And I can't say I'm excited because I think jobs will be lost. So yeah,
yeah,
shame.
I think the jobs is going to be a loss. I think the audience are going to suffer as well, kind of thing. I think there's going to be a
Yeah,
big. This is going to be the most turbulent, I think, in the streaming wars kind of saga. I think, as we lose stuff and gain stuff,
yeah,
like Amazon Prime have already brought in a tier of kind of getting rid of ads and stuff like that. So like, we're probably going to get more. Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
yeah. So that's predictions, Paul. Do you want to check some comments just with the moments we have left?
Yeah, quick enough.
Okay.
Which is
Where
Civil
were we?
War is going to be the new Barbie? Question mark. No, I don't think. Oh, I don't think so. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be an interesting one and discussions for the next while. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
I don't know if I'm at the right point, but I'll go for Mark's mentioning that streaming companies are losing billions. Disney, especially revenue, isn't keeping up with the finance need for new films. Yeah, overextended themselves. There will be consolidation, yes, for sure. Um, but also I think this maybe I am saying with a little bit too much glee. Cinema is going to get the respect it deserves again, and is already starting to. And I think a lot of these people who thought they could, oh, we don't need cinemas anymore. We'll have our own services and make all the money. I think there's going to be a pushback to let's make our money on multiple tiers. And physical media is part of what's dying, which I'm not going to go on my rant about, Paul. But I think they're going to regret a lot of things that they've done along the way.
yeah, I think
Um,
there's a lot of planning and stuff like that that's kind of going to rise. So it's going to be interesting.
yeah,
Um,
prices will have to go up, which then puts people off. Yeah, and piracy is not going away, Paul. As pricing increases, so does piracy.
and also the distribution. The question about distribution rights and everything like that is always going to cause piracy to go up in certain regions.
Exactly.
For example, your the Audi, like
Exactly.
Race to
The
Glory.
Lancia Audi film.
Yeah. So
Yeah, not cool. Um,
yes, yeah. Cinema has been cinema has been shot on by streaming services. Yeah, I think that's a big thing with them, and I think they've noticed the fact that they're going to have to go back to it. And I definitely think HBO and Warner Brothers were a big eater of that when they were just like, we'll bring out Tenant on the same day and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, it's not working. You know, you're not making as much money by splitting you're splitting your revenue streams against like $13 a month, or $13 for 2 hours. So like, that's the
yeah.
thing.
And look, we talked about Nolan because I know we've got to go into our wrap up now. Nolan famously got annoyed by that and left one whole company to go to another, and then give them the massive hit that was Oppenheimer. And what was his quote at the time? He's like, "I imagine all the people that went to bed thinking they worked for um, a great film company, and woke up finding out that they worked for a terrible streaming company,
Yeah.
or something to that effect." Which, kind of says it all. And look what he then did as retaliation. Not only did he walk across the street, but he took a massive cut of the profits from the movie, and is now, as you say, possibly going to have a whole load of statues on a shelf.
Yeah. Um, I like increase the time between cinema streaming releases. It will be the gap, then movie people are going to get it. I also think that possible cinema like sentiment could possibly also rebring hard physical copies back, in a sense of exclusives and collection editions and stuff like that. I think physical media
Yeah.
might come have a comeback just for the simple fact that they can make more money out of it. But who knows?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Paul, we're down to our last 90 seconds. So
Yeah,
what I'm going to say is this has been the best hour long half hour we've ever spent. And I really mean that to everybody who's joined in. I wish we could have just sat here and chatted with the comments and
mm,
not had anything prepared, Paul, because it's been awesome. Thank you all so much for your comments. Looking forward to 2024 with you all. If you could do us a little favor and hit the like there. If you are subscribed, thank you already. If you're not, please consider us. There are other YouTube people out there, but we could be yours. So yeah, like and share. It really does help. We'd like to grow this year, Paul.
mm.
But more importantly than that, we'd like to maintain this connection with the wonderful people that we have that join us.
Yeah, of course. We just yeah. Stick around for 2024. It's going to be an interesting year of movies and TVs. I've been Paul,
I've been Patrick.
and we've been Hear Us Out. See you next
See
week.
you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.